Ha! This guy's toast.
So here we have a Kingsbane buffed up with Deadly Poison, Envenom Weapon, and Legion Poison. And the question we want to answer, if you Doomerang a Kingsbane, does it keep the enchantment? Because Kingsbane says Death Rattle, shuffle this into your deck, it keeps any enchantment. And Doomerang will bypass Death Rattles on weapons usually. So let's try it out. As you can see, it still keeps the enchantment, even though Death Rattles didn't trigger. It's because the keep any enchantment part of Kingsbane is separate from the Death Rattle part. It's actually two different things. Because it comes right after the Death Rattle part, some people get confused and think you have to trigger the Death Rattle for Kingsbane to keep the enchantment, which is not true. So here I just equipped Kingsbane with a few enchantments on it. As you can see in my hand, we have just a plain 1 mana 1/3 Kingsbane. So what happens if we play this? Nothing. It just goes into your deck, and now you have a buffed up Kingsbane and a regular Kingsbane. So Kingsbane keeps any enchantments you put on it. The question is, let's say you reduce it by 2 with Ebon Dragonsmith. Will it also keep the cost reduction? So we play this, and this goes to 0. Alright, now we play our 0 cost Kingsbane. And, go ahead and put some Legion Poison on it.
Here we go.
And then we destroy it. Goes back into our deck. And when you pull it back out,
Go shinies.
it has the life steal, but it still costs 1. It doesn't keep the cost reduction. Here we have a Kingsbane buffed up by a Deadly Poison and a Legion Poison. Now what happens if we break this Kingsbane and play Rummaging Kobold? Does it come back with enchantments on it? As you can see, it does not. Rummaging Kobold apparently only gives you a copy of Kingsbane, and when you get copies of a card in Hearthstone, they come without any enchantments. Like if you Mind Vision Kingsbane from your opponent, it also won't have any buff on it. So we're going to test 2 things here. First is, does Lynessa cast her buffs based on the order that you cast your buff? Because it's really important, since there's cards like Dino Size and Dark Conviction where ordering of the buffs applied actually matters. Second thing we want to test is adaptation. If we choose one adaptation, will Lynessa always choose that adaptation as well, or will she choose a random one? So for this loot hoarder, we're just going to apply Hand of Protection, Blessing Wisdom, Adaptation, and we'll pick Poisonous, Divine Strength, and end with double Forbidden Healing. Alright, here we go. So in theory, this should end with double healing, and remember the adaptation we picked was Poisonous.
This dungeon reeks of magic. Delightful.
Now, it did pick the same adaptation and everything was applied in the exact same order. But it could just be a coincidence, so we should just try it again. So here we are again, about to apply some buffs to our Warrior Infiltrator, and see if Lynessa copies them in the right order, and also if she picks the same adaptation. So we're gonna go Divine, Divine, Blessing, Blessing, Humility, and Adaptation. And this time, let's go attack.
This dungeon reeks of magic.
Divine, Divine, Blessing, do Blessing, do Humility, do Adaptation, attack. Oh, so the adaptation's different, but it looks like the ordering of the buffs is always the same. This is why we test twice. So we have Umbra here, and we're gonna give it Spike Ridge Steed, causing it to have a Death Rattle summon a Stegodon Steed when it dies. Now the question is, if we play Lynessa, she's also gonna get the Spike Ridge Steed Death Rattle buff, but will it trigger off Umbra?
This dungeon reeks of magic. Delightful.
Interestingly enough, it doesn't. Now keep in mind that Spirit Singer Umbra says after you summon a minion. Now, generally, what after means is after the battle cry. I'm actually not sure if this is the intended interaction, because Spirit Singer Umbra says after you summon a minion. After has a very specific meaning because it means after the battle cries. If you look at any minion or any card with the word after, it generally kicks in after the battle cry has taken effect. And because Lynessa gains the Death Rattle during her battle cry, you could argue that she's supposed to have her Spike Ridge Steed Death Rattle triggered by Umbra. So here we have Spirit Singer Umbra and Moat Lurker. Now Moat Lurker is a minion whose Death Rattle is influenced by its battle cry. Somewhat similar to Lynessa, who gains Death Rattle through her battle cry, this is a minion who gets affected by battle cry. Now what happens if we Moat Lurker just a 1/1 dude with Umbra on the board? As you can see, it triggers the Death Rattle of Moat Lurker, which was influenced by its battle cry. So you can look at this example and kind of think if Lynessa should have her Spike Ridge Steed Death Rattle trigger. Now the main difference between the two minions is that Moat Lurker by itself is defined as a Death Rattle minion, which is why when N'Zoth is played, N'Zoth will bring it back. Whereas if you play N'Zoth, and you won't bring back Lynessa if she has Spike Ridge Steed Death Rattle on it. That's never how it worked. But it's not exactly the same case. You can argue it both ways. So there you have it. A few interactions featuring a couple of the new legendaries from the new expansion. If you have an interaction you would like me to test, please leave them in the comments below and I will try my best. Take care, guys.
Hey, lights out.